Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Animation Appreciation Podcast. I am your host, Liliana Stargazer, and today we'll be covering more episodes of Mighty Ducks, the animated series, starting with episode 7, Dungeons and Ducks. Are they actually mad that the ducks are defending the world instead of playing hockey? How do the ducks not notice random buildings appearing and disappearing as the raptor moves around? Or mountains, or hills, or anything? I just noticed Grid never uses guns of any kind. He uses projectiles. Oh, this is the show's version of an alternate reality episode. Let's see which trope they land in. Oh my God. I guess with Nosedive out of the way, Chameleon had to take the fourth wall breaking place when he said the show was now going to be called The Mighty Saurians. This show's version of alternate reality is actually different, as the alternate world is magic instead of tech. Usually it's set up so the good guys are the villains or some shenanigans such as that. This episode is also very much a D&D campaign by someone who has to base the entire world on the one they live in. Works best with low fantasy. In high fantasy like this, it just comes across as lazy. But I feel that they are making fun of people who do that. You seek to enter my stronghold. Bro, they are already in the stronghold. I also love the idea that Tanya said, let's stupid proof this computer in case of an alert, made it say, press the red button in case anyone but her was around. Tanya's wrist weapon is a chainsaw. I kind of love that. Duke always just uses that sword of his. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a saber. Most seem to simply have a puck launcher. If you use subtitles like I do when you watch, in this episode they say swiped my guts when he's clearly said swiped my ducks. Twice. So, Wild Wing's mask shows him how to navigate the maze and they just blast through the walls like a straight path. Why did you need the mask? Oh, I guess so you know where the end result is. Oh, yeah, I forgot Wildwing has a shield on his wrist. Fair enough, he is the leader after all. The subtitles also failed on Astaroth, as they called him As Still, which is odd since they got it right the first time it came up in the subtitles, which is how I know how to spell it. At least we have Nosedive to acknowledge the goofiness. A piece of delicate machinery? Send Tanya and Mallory, because you need someone to tell us how bad an idea it is to be brash and just break it, and then Mallory will just be brash and break it. If the arena is their launch area, how did they get back with the arena full of people? One goal and this game is over. I get it. They wanted to show us they won, but didn't have the time, and since we saw the start, they can't jump the score to the final one, but still. Let's go on to episode 8. Take me to your leader. I have one question. Why doesn't Wildwing just drive around and look at things with a mask? I guess so the story can story. This episode begs the question, how does Chameleon's powers work, since he can clone tech apparently, so long as whoever he is mimicking had the tech on them? Because here he has a communicator, which I don't believe they had one, and that is how Wildwing tracks him. Okay, so I can't say much about the fuzzy dice being tacky when they steal the car, as my husband and I have fuzzy dice in our cars. Well, I did until mine broke, but mine was the basic black and white like Siege here has. How do jet rollerblades work in sand and dirt? In my experience, rollerblades don't work in dirt at all. Much less, and in grass, you might as well just be walking. The fact that the suit linked to the mask is kind of cool, but also Wild Wing in normal clothes looks so weird. Nothing is more American rich than believing you can do anything if you wanted to, not until it's shoved in his face, and sometimes that doesn't work with the rich. Thankfully, it works with our little buddy here. By seasoned professional, Duke means the oldest and the most battle experienced, since he was a thief. This episode seems to be showing why Wild Wing is the leader and not the others. So we learned that Duke is too rush-in-y. Tanya overanalyzes and doesn't take action. Mallory has too little patience with Nosedive, though she does have the combat experience. Grin is too pacifistic and wants to meditate all the time. And finally, Nosedive. Nosedive's just too cocky and inexperienced. His main flaw seems to be his youth and inexperience. Hence why we need Wildwing. Level-headed, cautious, but not too cautious, patient, and confident. As he showed in other episodes, he also lives by trust and yet keep an eye on them anyway policy. Almost every 90s show had a plant-based episode. Mostly it was because of plant-based villains, but in this case, or ones like it where there's only one villain group, they choose mutant plants instead. The music at the part where Wildwing returns is a sped-up version of their intro music. If you use Disney Plus to watch and again use subtitles, it has again messed up with fossil breath being replaced for fossil lips. Something is inherently hilarious about the neutronium core being a we made it, we can shut it down situation while the villain's in mid flight. I feel like the guy they wanted to have replace Wildwing as was some kind of celebrity and we should have heard of. But this is also why I think cameos don't age well. The target audience grows up in the next round isn't sure who it is, and for those without the original group to explain it, it's kind of just the main people fangirling over someone we don't know. There's also the issue of some of Chameleon's impressions having the same problem. All right, on to episode 9, the human factor. If Wraith is supposed to be a psychic, he is very bad at it. Ooh, thermite. Okay, so thermite bombs make perfect sense. If you want to know why, it's because thermite is a very volatile and burns very hot solution. Hot enough, Mythbusters were able to basically melt a car in half with it. It burned to the ground, but the thermite did split it down the middle for a minute there. It also can explode ice by burning so hot and so suddenly that the ice block goes into shock and it explodes. See Mythbusters episodes for reference. That's also the entire reason I know what the word thermite is or anything about it at all. The paths are many, but the journey remains the same. Literally means, oh, it doesn't matter to me. There and or either option doesn't make a difference. Oh god, it's the Sunnyvale episode. A few cartoons do this, live action episodes too. The mains break down in a seemingly perfect town due to engine trouble. The town seems absolutely perfect. Someone offers to help, but the car is fine, so they have to ask the local mechanic what's wrong. Then it's something stupid simple that has to be ordered or made or whatever until the part or whatever's done. And then they hang in the nice folk in the town until everything goes south. Usually we will kill you, rot your brain out, sacrifice you, or whatever. It's always too wholesome and always a facade. Notice everyone has someone that they would entice them to stay, even an art museum for Duke, as he was an art thief. It's only when the museum worker surprises Duke that the truth is shown. Yeah, I don't know what this setup is called, but I always call it the Perfectville Trap. And of course, because this time it's an EMP style jammer. For those who don't know, an EMP is an electromagnetic pulse. You usually hear about them in reference to solar radiation impacting the atmosphere. If the EMP is strong enough, it can damage electronic devices like phones and cars. If it's constant, like it is here, it acts as a Faraday cage and prevents signals from getting out by, of course, jamming them as it's shown here. Why did Nosedive say Dragoness instead of like Dragoness? Who names their creature the floor? Is there no better name? Oh, it was a subtitle issue, my bad. It is the Slar, is what he said, and that is not, it's not better. Being on talk shows and infomercials are like the major goal for the 90s because YouTube and going viral weren't a thing outside of just regular TV. I remember loving Nosedive's meta jokes as a kid, but to be fair, I think it was a newer concept back then. How does the technologically inept Mallory identify any object without help, as she's been seen multiple times to have no aptitude for technology whatsoever? That's all I have for today. Thank you, and thank you for listening. And as always, if it's animated, someone did it on purpose. Have a wonderful night.